sharing with you in this video how to become a producer instead of a consumer to help you create your goals. And the reason why I'm recording this video and why I believe that this video is going to be of the utmost importance for you to really embody if you want to become a creator is because really that's just what it is that I believe, and this is probably a perspective that nobody has ever shared with you in this way before, but the truth that I believe is that we are naturally creators and we are naturally givers. So we do give and we do naturally want to provide value to the world, but what happens is that we get in our own way. And the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually do this is to really understand that we are naturally creators in a consumer culture. That's just what's happening, is that we've been conditioned to consume, but our natural state of being is to create. That's what I believe. I believe our natural state of our natural state is to be in a state of transformation. That's what I believe, is that we get into a state of transformation on a moment to moment basis. We are changing beings. We're not just static beings. We are malleable, we're changeable, and we change on a moment to moment basis. But most people are recreating themselves into an extremely similar version of themselves moment to moment, and they're not open to the possibility of actually transforming into who they actually want to be. So this is what I want to sort of ingrain into you, is to have this understanding that that's really what's happening. We've been conditioned to believe that all we have to do is take more, receive more, take here, take over there, and we just want to consume. But we never want to give anymore. We never want to provide value. We've never even looked at what value is. And that's why, again, I believe this video is going to be a little bit different. Again, possibly something nobody has ever shared in this particular way before, because really value, we're going to talk about in this video what value actually is and how we can define it. So the second thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually provide value to the world and what it actually is to understand that value naturally comes when you are connected to who you really are. And so that's the essence of value, is that if you're not connected to your essence, if you're not connected with your values, what you care about, how you want to show up in the world, what begins to happen is that you're not going to be leading with value. You're going to be leading, whether this is happening at a conscious level, hopefully not, or at an unconscious level. What's going to be happening is that you're going to be taking. Even if I believe you give money to somebody, or you give possessions to somebody, or you do something that might look on the outside like you're providing value, if you're coming from a place of impurity, I believe that at an energetic and spiritual level, you are taking. You are really taking from that interaction. And people can sense this. It's almost like our biology has a sixth sense just to know, like, is somebody coming from the truth or are they coming from their ego? You just know. Now, of course, as the good person that you are, you might naturally see the goodness in people because you see it in yourself, and you see how to not attach to your own flaws and not how to attach to who you thought you were. But how did you do this? This came from the realization, whether you realize this at a conscious level or not, of who you really were and how that is value. So really, the third thing that I want to share with you in this video, just to not beat around the bush here, is to understand that really, to become a producer instead of a consumer, if you want to naturally be a creator, what you have to understand that, in my personal opinion, being is what value is. And that is what giving is. So really what we need to begin to understand if we want to step into our creative power is that the more that we work on ourselves, the more value that we have to offer. But what does this mean? This means to be more of who you really are. That's really what I believe the essence of value is. So really, if you're coming from a space of ego, if you're coming from a space of manipulation, if you're coming from a space of unconsciousness, and you don't even know that you're doing this, you might be a victim, you might be complaining, you might have money in your bank account, you might have a service to offer, you might have a product to sell, but if you're not coming from a place of authenticity, oftentimes people will not hear you out and buy whatever it is that you're selling, because you're selling from a place of impurity. And even if you attract customers and attract, people to listen to you in this sort of way of inauthenticity, the truth is that that business model will collapse. It will collapse, and it will not be a long-lasting business model. It will not be a long-lasting business, because you're not providing any real value. It was all grounded upon a false idea of you're thinking you're providing value, but really it was all just false. It was all grounded in something that was fake, that was never real to begin with. So if you're running a business, if you're walking through life in the world, even if you don't say you're not self-employed, it doesn't matter. If you're working for an employer, you're selling yourself every single moment. We are selling ourselves in every moment. Like right now, it might not look like it, but whenever you're doing something, you're selling yourself. I'm selling myself in this video by being who I am. Really, what I'm selling you on is to be who you actually are, and to come from authenticity. That's my sales pitch here, is that I'm selling you, but really, whether I do that consciously or unconsciously, me just being who I am is the sales pitch as well. And that is the same for you. So the key here is to start, and it might sound weird to think about it like that, but the key is to understand that how can you really provide any value to anybody if you're not being who you actually are? Like if you're not coming from a place of being connected to your essence. So really think about this. I want you to think about this. If you lose yourself in your creation, are you still providing value? Are you still helping the world? Are you still being a person of service? Maybe at a physical level, but look at a more nuanced level. If you're sensing that your energy is getting drained as you're doing what you're doing because you're not in a state of being, and you're focused on so much giving that you're not being anymore, now it's questionable how much value you're able to provide and the level of impact that you have. So if you want to have the strongest impact, the highest level of value, the highest level of helping the world, I highly invite and encourage you to reconnect to your spiritual state of being. Your spiritual state of being connected to who you actually are, your spiritual state of truth and consciousness and abundance, and the being connected to the present moment as the only moment that exists. Because really that is the truth, is that the past never existed. It only existed as a thought in this present moment. And that goes the same thing for the future, is that never actually existed. It only exists right now, if you're honest with yourself, as an idea in this present. So the more that we can come from this place, come from that connection to who we really are, what I'm telling you is that your value will increase. You will be a better value provider. Whatever you do, whatever you decide to do in your life, however you want to provide value, whatever business you're running, even if you're not running any business or working at all, you're gonna still provide value to the world by doing this. Because again, my claim here is that it's not just what we do. It's not just what we do, it's the place that we're coming from. And I believe that the place that we're coming from will naturally help us to align with our actions, because when we can focus on the place that we're coming from, our quality of thinking will change. And when our quality of thinking changes, the actions that we take change. And when the actions that we take change, most of the time, it's not guaranteed, but the outputs and the results in your life and the external world as a reflection usually changes as well. None of this is guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed really. Even the next moment is technically not guaranteed in the way that you want it. The only thing that is ever guaranteed is the truth that you have a sense that you exist. And that's something you can be honest about in any moment in your life, is that right now you can sense that you exist. That's going to be guaranteed as long as you continue to focus on it. So in this present moment, at least. Now, when you go to sleep at night, technically it's not guaranteed. So this is why we need to only control the variables that we can actually control. Only the variables that are within our power, not to get lost in things that have literally nothing to do with anything we have an ability to control. Just let it all go. If you want to focus on that, next time it'll be there waiting for you, but try it. Try it as an exercise. Just for 21 days, focus on only what you can control. Let go of the rest. Be who you want to be. Be committed to your vision, of course. Be committed to your goals. Be committed to what you want to create. But really understand that only come from a place of caring about how you actually come from what you're doing. So the place that you're coming from, and only start to care about really how you feel. And when I say how you feel, I'm not saying to control your feelings. What I'm pointing to is to come from a place of purity, where naturally your feelings, any negative feelings that you don't like, will get let go of. You'll remove them from your life, and you'll get that much closer to being a producer